Hello guys and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to talk about another ubiquitous definition that is called Kubernetes. Last week I've been talking about Docker and have summarized 5 key facts that you need to know about Docker, and the link to the video should appear up here or up there. Today we're going to summarize 5 key facts about Kubernetes. This has been a definition I have been researching, doing projects on and working on over the last couple of months, and I have been fascinated how easier Kubernetes makes the whole containerization deployment, and I think that in this day and age it is a definition that it's important that you understand, that you know about, and ideally that you can use if you want to progress in your career as DevOps engineer or any other position that involves Kubernetes. So let's get started. The first fact that I would like to mention about Kubernetes is that, again, it is not the name of the technology as such, it is the name of the company that owns the software. So Kubernetes is provided by the company, this is the name of the brand basically, whereas, for example, as I mentioned it in the video about Docker, virtualization or virtual machines is the name of the technology, the name of the definition of what it does, and there are different companies that provide this technology like VMware, VirtualBox, and etc. But with Kubernetes, it's the name of the brand itself that provides this service. Kubernetes has been created actually by Google, and Google has made this technology open source so that the whole world can benefit from it. It made it open source by creating the company, the foundation called the Cloud Native Computing Foundation, and it is managed together by Google, this foundation, and the Linux Foundation. The Linux Foundation is the biggest foundation that manages Linux operating system and its flavors. So Kubernetes basically belongs to the Cloud Native Computing Foundation. The second important fact that actually describes what Kubernetes does is that Kubernetes is the tool that allows you to create lots and lots of different containers and customize the container creation process. So if Docker or Podman or any other containerization solution allows you to create single containers, Kubernetes allows you to manage all of these containers and turn their creation, deletion, or any other actions that you want to do with them into an automated process. So it allows the company to become scalable in terms of container creation and automate its processes. In order for you to understand it easier, imagine you have a cookie or biscuit factory where you have different machines that do different functions. Like one machine creates a dough, other mixes this dough, another like shapes it and puts into oven, and etc. And in order to manage all of these machines separately, you would have to go from one corner of the factory to another, or you could have just one control room in the factory, and from which you could manage all of these machines from the single point. So you wouldn't lose so much time by managing all of them separately. And this is the same solutions that Kubernetes provides. So instead of going to managing every container separately or creating every container one by one, or even putting all of these commands on the Docker into Bash script, okay, Bash script can do it for you, but Kubernetes is still a better solution because it can deploy containers as a mass, and it allows you to customize them. Under customization, just as an example, I'm gonna mention you can put the limits for the containers, so the maximum CPU time, the maximum CPU RAM that it can use, the maximum input-output throughput that it can use, and etc. So you basically can customize the creation of containers using the Kubernetes. The third important fact about Kubernetes is actually about the definitions that you're gonna hear with Kubernetes a lot, and it's pod, P-O-D. I know that it's very easy to feel yourself drowned among different definitions without knowing actually what is what and without differentiating between the definitions. So pod is in Kubernetes the group, the object that includes one or more container. So Kubernetes basically manages a pod. A pod can include one container, or you can include many containers in one pod. when you use Kubernetes, you don't say I'm managing a container. You say I'm managing a pod, because this container isn't a pod. And it makes everything easier when you think about it realistically, because one pod can include 3 containers, and you just setting the limits for one pod, setting the different customization settings for one pod, you would be able to actually manage all of these containers that are inside the pod. And there is a bigger definition of that includes the several pods, and it's called cluster. So cluster includes several pods, and each pod includes at least one container. Well, I will try to add a schematic description of what pod is and how it includes a container, so that it's more clear for you. But once you get the hang of this definition, it's really gonna become easier for you to understand what Kubernetes does, and actually it's gonna become easier for you to manage the Kubernetes. The fourth important fact is that many technologies at the moment, well, up-to-date technologies, they're based on Kubernetes. Some of the companies, since Kubernetes is an open source platform, they develop their own solutions that are based on Kubernetes. And one of the examples is Red Hat. So Red Hat has an ebook where it explains microservices and cloud native infrastructure. And as a solution to being more cloud native, it offers its Red Hat Dynatrace solution. But Red Hat Dynatrace solution is basically based on the Kubernetes, and they say it themselves that they based it on the Kubernetes, since Kubernetes is an open source tool. And there are many other solutions that are based on Kubernetes. So by knowing just one tool, one software, it's gonna allow you to work as a DevOps engineer at different companies and to be able to use this technology in different companies. Many companies who use a technology based on Kubernetes or the Kubernetes itself say that their technology is based on Kubernetes or they're using Kubernetes, but please don't mix it with Ansible or other solutions, because we will be talking about them in next videos. Ansible is not based on Kubernetes, it's something a bit different. So yeah, just knowing the Kubernetes can make can ease your way into going at DevOps engineering. The fifth important fact, Kubernetes is cloud native, but it can run on different platforms. Cloud native is a term that has been coined relatively recently, and it's important to understand its definition because it's being used very often at the moment. So applications or solutions that are cloud native are developed to be used on cloud technology. So many companies at the moment, they're switching to the cloud, right? And it's not something new realistically. And these companies, they deploy applications on the cloud. So application developers or solution developers try to tailor their applications to the cloud environment, so that this application can ideally run on the cloud. So it's not for on-premises as such, but for the cloud. So that's why these applications, these solutions are called cloud native applications. And Kubernetes is a cloud native solution. So it is a perfect solution or software to be used on the cloud specifically, but it can also run on-premise infrastructure and on hybrid infrastructure as well. So on-premise companies and hybrid, the companies that use a mix of on-premise and cloud infrastructure, can benefit from Kubernetes as well. This has been a sum of 5 facts about Kubernetes. The last thing that I would like to mention is that Kubernetes, just as Docker, can be used, and this is basically one of the only way to use it, from the command line or from terminal. The executable that is managed by Kubernetes is called kubectl, and you can do everything just by typing the commands or putting them all together into bash scripts, which makes it easier because whenever you start working, or DevOps engineers basically, they do many things in terminal. So it's way easier to manage programs from the terminal as opposed from the GUI, but there are different people, so their tastes might differ. But as I said, Kubernetes is fully manageable from terminal or command line. Thank you very much for being with me today. Please let me know in the comment section down below what you think about Kubernetes. Have you heard about it before? Are you planning to get to know it better? Are you planning to use it in the future? Do you think it's necessary to learn more about it, to pass certifications related to it or not? I would love to hear what you think, and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel because it adds up to my motivation to create more, to prepare more videos, to pass more certifications, and of course to share my experience and my expertise with you. Thank you very much for being with me today and have a nice day. See you in the next video. Bye!